Hello, Namaskar, Namaskara, Namaskara, Namaskar. My name is Pooja Dwivedi. Welcome to my class. In this class, we shall unravel the hypocrisy of the former two-term president of the United States, Barack Hussein Obama. We shall discuss it from the perspective of GS Mains Paper Second, from the perspective of PSIR optional, and from the perspective of interviews as well. Before I begin with the class, I would like to inform the students about 3 separate batches that we have launched from 19th of June onwards. These are Prelims to interview courses. Many students are okay with studying completely in Hindi. We have a Hindi batch for you. For English ones, we have an English batch. For those who are comfortable both in Hindi and English, we have the hybrid English batch. So you can take admission in any one of these. The investment is meager. The result or the return are immense. First, of course, the classes along with the study material. Mains test series, Prelims test series, daily current affairs module, answer writing practice on a daily basis, along with weekly test and a mains residential program for those who qualify Prelims 2024 is available at just a discounted fee of Rs 29,999. But in order to avail the discount, when you are going to take admission on StudyIQ website, you will use the code PDLive and hence you will get a discount. It will be made available to you at the discounted price. Also, you must do it as quickly as possible as we have limited seats. We are closing our batch on 30th of June. Alright, so do it ASAP. Now, what is the news? Recently, the Prime Minister went on a state visit to the United States of America. This was the first state visit by the current Indian Prime Minister. It was showing the zenith of India and USA's relationship. Very symbolic, pomp and show. So it was an act of showing the relationship which has grown immensely since the past few years between the USA and India. But there were lows as well. The lows, of course, the particular low that we are talking about over here is the interview that Barack Hussein Obama gave to the CNN. During this interview, he said that the issue of the protection of Muslim minority in a majority Hindu India is worth raising between Modi, the Prime Minister of India, and the United States President Joe Biden. Although Joe Biden did raise the issue, but the language was judicious and it was more so in a friendly manner. And that showed how important India is to the United States at the current times. Also, he said without such protection, there was a strong possibility that India at some point starts pulling apart. These sort of words which were used and the absence of a very important word here which could have been substituted actually caused a lot of issue. What is the actual issue? I am not talking about him giving his opinion. Barack Obama giving his opinion as a member, as a citizen of the USA is more than welcome. But the choice of words, the timing, and showing that India is about to be partitioned once again is the problem. So, of course, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman was expecting a question from the media about it. She and Rajnath Singh, the Defense Minister, orchestrated continued attacks on Barack Hussein Obama. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that Obama shouldn't be the one to talk, given his history as the former president of the United States is marred with indiscriminate bombing on Muslim majority countries. Was she lying? No. This is the truth. I have brought out many facts for you. Now, what is the actual problem should also be seen. First, the timing. At the time of the first ever state visit by the current Prime Minister, these words could have been used judiciously. Of course, Barack Hussein Obama and Modi's era, when these two were in power together, of course, the relationship touched new highs. But the current timing wasn't suited. Prime Minister Modi considers Barack Hussein Obama as a close friend. Of course, on the personal level, that would have harmed him in other ways. But the timing, specifically the current timing, when stability could be seen in only few relationships like India and the USA, this was unsolicited. Second is the absence of word secular. We are not a Hindu country. We are a secular country. Yes, the majority is Hindu. And we consider ourselves, unlike Pakistan, a secular country. Once you tag a country on the basis of religion, and we as a nation do not subscribe to that ideology that feeds into the international narrative of India being based on a religion as a country. So that should not be happening. As you see, the word here could have been secular. Protection of the Muslim minority in a secular India. Another issue is the words pulling apart. Is he feeding into the idea of another partition? That is the other issue that we are going to talk over here. Yes, on the basis of unchecked communalism, of which the seeds were sown by the British. That was another time. Right now, we do not see that happening, and it will never be a reality. Fringe groups are present everywhere, even in the USA, who are conservative, who want to go back to the earlier times where suppression and oppression was the daily routine. But in India, it has been checked a lot of time. This is the problem with Barack Hussein Obama's statements. Now, as I told you, I will bring in important and reliable facts when it comes to indiscriminate bombing of Muslim majority country. Do you know that during 1 year of Obama administration, he bombed many more times that the Bush administration did in their entire tenure. Even if we talk about just one single year, 2016, more than 26 bombs were dropped across 7 countries. And this map shows us where: Libya, Syria, even Pakistan, Yemen, Afghanistan, Somalia. This was the magnitude of bombing during Obama's tenure. Of course, the think tank who has presented this report says that the numbers are undoubtedly low. Why? Because the reliable data is only available for airstrikes in Pakistan, Yemen, Somalia and Libya, absent in Afghanistan, which was the first country to be at the receiving end of American war on terror. Another issue is that a single strike, which according to Pentagon's own definition, can involve multiple bombs or munitions. That means these airstrikes, which are this much, 26172 bombs, is an under record of what actually has been. In 2015, before 2016, America dropped more than 23,000 bombs in all of the above mentioned countries except Libya. Except Libya, all the other countries were at the receiving end of bombings under Obama's administration. And also they conducted a staggering number of drone attacks. Other than that, during Obama's administration, they dramatically expanded the air war and also the use of special operations across the globe because they wanted to ensure America is still feared. Obama in his 2-term authorized 563 airstrikes, largely by drones targeting Pakistan, Yemen, Somalia. And because of this, between 384 to 807 civilians died. So, interest of the Muslims is really settling well with Obama? Not so. Obama entered office on the back of the promise to end America's war on terrorism in Iraq and Afghanistan, which was started during the tenure of Bush. During his campaign, he made certain promises in order to save the American soldiers' lives. But was he succeeding in that? No. He even won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2009, months after coming into office as the president. But interestingly, when he reached Oslo to receive this award, just in a span of 2 months, from declaration and the actual, getting the prize, he increased the troops in Afghanistan by 30,000. He won the Nobel Peace Prize for his vision of and work for a world without nuclear weapons. He slashed, according to his own promises, the number of troops from this much to this much. But at the same time, he deployed more elite commando units which were able to strike at a much harder pace, and also technologically advanced equipments were given to them. So the magnitude never decreased. Just in order to show that he is saving the lives of American soldiers, he did another thing. So he, of course, took the advantage of the loop he created. The first country that was the victim of America's war on terror was Afghanistan. Because of the 9/11 attacks, as Article 5 of the NATO agreement was invoked, Afghanistan was about to be destroyed because they were housing Osama bin Laden along with Al-Qaeda. So to uproot them, to uproot Taliban, which it could only for a few years, and now Taliban is back in power in Afghanistan. Afghanistan was at the receiving end, which was the most destroyed. Now, under the garb of America's war on terror, what did America do? America also tried uprooting those leaders which were no longer important for America, no longer could serve America's purpose. Saddam Hussein was one of them. So, the military action against Iraq in 2003 was also labeled as America's war on terror. He was toppled and later on sentenced to death. Now, the Arab Spring of 2011 also got the US backing so that more democratic structures could come into place. And the regime changed in Libya, of course, Gaddafi we all remember, so that there could be a toppling of the Syrian regime. But democracy was never, the dream of democracy was never fulfilled there. Although we could see the lack of a proper political system in these countries. When America attacked these countries under the garb of America's war on terror, what happened? There was a political vacuum, no leader was there, so there was an upsurge of terrorism. The creation of ISIS. Whenever there is a political, economic vacuum, it is always plugged by extremism and terrorism. So ISIS was born out of the American war on terror. It was manufactured to different parts of the world as well. Then civilian conflict increased. When there is an absence of rule of law, there is civil war. Refugee flows start to take place. Creation of an unstable Europe. Also unprincipled local compromises with extremism. It discredited the war on terror. The removal of autocratic but still secular regimes in West Asia created a lot of issues for India. Why? India was in a good relations with many countries in West Asia, but because of America's war on terror, it disintegrated the relationship India had with these countries. So, the birth of ISIS in West Asia created problems for India. The issue that was taken up time and again by India with the USA was ignored. Another issue, more safe havens were created in Afghanistan and Pakistan from where terror attacks were launched against India by these countries. So, these countries used terrorists as a strategic asset against India. Specifically, I am talking about Pakistan. Now, it's a complete failure of the America's war on terror. Why? Because Taliban is again in power and it has created problems for India because Taliban, India is engaging with it but not endorsing because we have ideological differences. We are assisting Afghani people on the basis of humanitarian assistance, the first responder. But still, we are not able to fruitfully engage with Taliban because it usurped power. It was never in our interest to endorse Taliban and still is not. Then, the draconian sanctions that were imposed on Iran created trade challenges between India and Iran. Another issue. Then also, we have to understand that this entire war on terror completely failed to abolish and eliminate terrorists. This is the truth. These are facts. Is terrorism over? No. More lone wolves are being created across Europe. Are terrorists eliminated? No. We are still at the brunt of terrorism. How can we say that? Now, not only bomb strikes, but during the administration of Obama, the world became more unstable. America does what it does beautifully. Creation of an ambience which is full of fear. Then, on the basis of that fear, they start exporting arms. On the basis of their arms industry, their economy works. So this is how America works. Under Obama administration, US weapon exports increased 43%. So one cannot say that Obama is the suited candidate for winning the Nobel Prize. Why is he the most unsuited winner of the Nobel Prize along with Henry Kissinger? Is of course, he came to power on the basis of two important things. Ending American war on terror, which he couldn't do. It was only during the time of Trump when proper steps were taken to withdraw troops from Afghanistan, and closing the Guantanamo Bay. Guantanamo Bay is a prison, military prison here south of Cuba. So whichever terrorists were caught in Afghanistan and several other countries during the American War of Terror were lodged here, and it has still not been closed. Although he reduced the number of prisoners, but still he never closed it. Okay. Also, he held on to Robert Gates as the Secretary of Defense, who was the Defense Secretary during the Bush administration, which was not at all needed. If he was really serious about ending the war on terror, he could have changed the Defense Secretary on the basis of ideological differences. He was against Hillary Clinton's foreign policy, but when he became the president, he appointed Hillary Clinton as the Secretary of State. Even if we believe it, for the first term of Barack Obama as the president, it was being seen as the Clinton's rule. Obama was also called too weak to be as he was on terrorism. So maybe because of that, he, could not come with a heavy hand on terrorism. This could be the reason. Now, India has, of course, been much more important to the USA in current times. If we compare USA being important for India, why India has emerged as a leading global power to counter China in the Indo-Pacific. USA wants to align with India. Why? Because of democratic ideologies and the importance of India as an economic power in Asia. And India has all the abilities to counter China. It has made it possible by manifesting its rule over the LAC, how India now will never succumb to Chinese pressure. India also has leverage with Russia, Japan, Australia, France and Israel. Russia being the most important one because of India's buying of oil from Russia and then refining it and then selling it to the United States of America. What do we see? Supply of oil is intact and the prices are not increasing, and USA does not need to engage with Russia. This is what the entire plan is. India's potential as a strategic ally, because India has emerged as the voice of the global south, specifically after receiving immense support from the Pacific Island countries when India went to Papua New Guinea for the first time ever. When the Prime Minister of India visited Papua New Guinea, it was history and historical. Now, India and the USA have also signed many important agreements for military cooperation, such as LEMUA, which gives mutual access to India and the USA for each other's military facilities. COMCASA, to secure communication and transfer of high-end technologies. BECA, to share geospatial data and intelligence, showing that India is important in the Indo-Pacific, will remain so. So these words that came out of Barack Obama's mouth should not be given more oxygen. More oxygen was provided when the Finance Minister and Defense Minister took a stand against it. But still it was needed. Also, India and the US are engaging in different technologies such as artificial intelligence, quantum computing, BT, semiconductor, 6G telecommunication, cyber security. That is why right now, very importantly, we must know that these comments will not make much difference. But yes, as a former president of the United States, it was something unsolicited and of course not expected by India. The words could have been used more judiciously, more responsibly. If there were actually issues, if we have to think that did the leaders do correctly by saying things about Obama, when Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of India, was asked a question in Washington about the situation of Muslims in India, he addressed it very diplomatically. And that was the truth. But now we see that more so is being made up of what Nirmala Sitharaman and Rajnath Singh had to say. And the Muslim countries are in good terms with India. Other than this, the Muslim Ummah does not see any issue with the policy persuasion of the current Prime Minister regime. So all these things makes India confident. I hope you understood this topic well. Now, if you want the PDF of this class, you can join my Telegram channel, Pooja Dwivedi StudyIQ UPSC. If you want to talk to me with respect to UPSC, you can also contact me on my Instagram channel. Thank you so much for watching.